You know, Texas State is poised to soar to new heights in 2023. We are starting a new year laser focused on a bold vision for our university's future. Following decades of growth and distinction in our teaching and research mission, we're now ready to move towards our next transformation. This vision is called Hopes and Aspirations High, inspired by a lyric in our alma mater. Our Run to R1 is one of the top pillars in this vision. Growing enrollment in our 12 PhD programs is instrumental in advancing our research enterprise, and we've taken several bold steps forward. For example, we recently allocated $6 million of university reserves to admit 50 new PhD students in 3 programs: Material Science, Engineering Commercialization, Computer Science, and Aquatic Resources and Integrative Biology. And that's just the beginning. We're going to take more action to achieve our hopes and aspirations high. In this month's episode of The Current, we're showcasing the Aquatic Resources and Integrative Biology PhD program. Its students lead groundbreaking research, and they're studying endangered species, fragile ecosystems, and the sustainable use of our world's precious water supply and other natural resources. To learn more, I'm outside the Freeman Aquatic building on our San Marcos campus. And I'm joined today by Dr. Clay Green, Director of the Aquatic Resources and Integrative Biology PhD program. Great to have you here, Dr. Green.
Thank you very much, Kelly. It's great to be here.
I enjoyed hearing a little bit about your background here. You've got a connection to Southwest Texas State from your family, right?
I do. My mom and my grandmother graduated here, and my great-great-grandfather, Ed J.L. Green, the street is named here in San Marcos.
That's really
he was important in kind of the founding of the university. Never living here before until I moved here, it feels truly like coming home.
Tell us about the PhD program that you run and the research projects that your students are helping us to lead.
Well, Kelly, as you mentioned, our students really are engaged in cutting-edge research, and it's the aquatic resources and the integrative biology it's a broad term, and that's what our students are doing. They're engaged in everything from research like treating diseases in plants and animals, from amphibian killing fungus in Ecuador to coral reefs off our Texas coast that are affected by disease. We have a variety of students conducting ecological studies on a variety of vertebrates and invertebrates, from karst species that are literally right underneath our feet, to the turtles and fish and reptiles behind us in this pond, to the birds and bats overhead. Our world is changing, the climate is changing, and we have a number of students engaged in research on threatened and endangered species, and looking at our groundwater and how that may change, how our rivers and stream may change, how grasslands may be affected, how the sky islands out in the Chihuahuan Desert. Truly, from around the world to here in Texas, our students are engaged in cutting-edge research.
And we're blessed by some natural resources here, having the lake and the river and these ponds behind us here. It's a great laboratory for our students and for our faculty to explore these issues, right?
Being here by the Freeman Aquatic building, this is really where it all began for our program. And while our faculty are engaged in research across the board, we certainly have our roots in aquatic biology and aquatic resources. And we see that every day with these ponds and over there at the Meadows Center.
So what do your PhD graduates do when they leave here?
I think the first thing I would say is they get good jobs. They get good jobs and in a variety of fields, everything from federal and state agencies, everything from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Texas Parks and Wildlife. We have students and graduates in key leadership positions within these agencies. Of course, we have them in the public and private sector, and then we have them in academia.
Part of our Run to R1 is the goal behind it is to grow the number of PhD graduates. And so we have 12 PhD programs. We're going to grow the number of students that are graduating from those programs, and over time, expand the number of PhD programs as well, so we can get more PhD graduates here. Tell me what it means to your program to have the kind of resources that you're being provided now to get more students into your program. Are you able to handle the capacity easily, and is there a demand for your field?
There is a demand, and first off, Kelly, the impact is significant for us. When the announcement was made by our chair to our faculty, the enthusiasm, the energy was palpable, it was genuine. I had people blowing up my email box saying, I want to bring in new students, I want to do this, I want to do that. It gives us opportunities to engage with a variety of new partners and stakeholders for this research, and we certainly have the capacity. We have the interest from the faculty and the desire, and there are so many questions out there that need tackling and need answering. We have the students that are interested in those things. We have the faculty behind them to support them.
growing our PhD programs isn't just about growing the graduate programs, but enriching the entire campus as a whole.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks so much for being here and sharing a little bit of what you're doing. Well, that wraps up the current video for this month, and I can't wait to come back to you in future months to share about all the things that are happening here at Texas State University. Until next time, stay safe, everyone.